Phil's box, I'm ready to ship it to him. Just been doing a lot of other stuff. I feel weird about it. I think I mentioned this already in a video. You know, Phil's a finish guy, so he can nitpick the hell out of this thing. But I wanted to show it to you. It came out pretty good. I mentioned this earlier. I don't like working in plywood. Like for the van, it's fine. But typically when I build furniture, I build that out of solid wood, like quality hardwoods. And I usually select my material for the color. I'm not a finish guy. I'm not into staining stuff and all that. And these things, I've been making these out of scrap wood that I have laying around, right? And I'm also thinking about weight. So I constructed this box in a particular way with particular materials that I had based on what I know, right? And what I've been thinking about. And keep in mind, Phil's, we're going to see the back of my van here in a moment, but I have the Dutch doors. So I have that one big door on the Astro van that opens this way and two lower doors that open this way. Phil has what you call the barn doors. It's just two long doors. So his interior doors are different than mine. And he provided me with measurements, which I made to the parameters. That's what this box is designed for. And the box will insert into the door and to about here. There's a line on here. You probably can't see it on video. And then there's going to be a 1/2 inch panel here that is going to get screwed from the inside to the edge of that panel. That then attaches it to the wall of the van. So there's going to be a piece here. It's going to be about 5 inches wide or so. Like an inch piece here on the bottom. And then probably about an inch or so wide here. And that'll create this kind of flange around the outside of the box. So you'll drill holes where you need them. You'll eyeball that where the steel is first. You'll push this in and then you'll mark where those holes are. You pull this out, you'll drill holes in this sheet metal that's left surrounding this box. And you'll put rev nuts in there. And then you'll put this back on and you'll put bolts in. And that's what'll hold it all in there. It'll be great. The top comes to here. I probably have something I can lay across here. So, actually this much of it will protrude. So he'll be able to put a little piece of trim here. I don't know if I have something that I can mill for him for that. At least something that'll also fit in the box, because it needs to be long enough to go from probably about here, it needs to be about that long. And the box I'm making won't allow me to put that in the box. So Phil, just something to keep aware of. At any rate, it'll be about like this, and he'll put a little, because there's only about this much steel there on the back of the door, and then from here up is the back window. Not a lot of room. So he'll be able to put a little tiny piece of molding across here if he wants to. He doesn't really need to, but this much of the plywood will be seen. And the idea here is this is just a little spot here to grab stuff. What I also did is that I lined this with some cork. I put a little bit of spray glue on it. I didn't go crazy. In case he doesn't like it, he can pull it up, clean it out. I've got a window hasp here to the side, because when the door opens, all right, door opens, it's easy to grab. You don't need to reach for it. It's right here. And then this drops down, and this cord is what's going to hold it in place. Now, I also lined the insides of these, right, with the cork, both down here and here. Now, my system for holding this thing in place, I probably should have had this mounted for you, it's very, 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 very simple. I drilled 2 holes here, and I chamfered them. All right, so you can probably see that. And that just allows for the cord to slide through without getting hung up, hopefully. This would take a minute for me to thread this through here, because it's a very tight hole. Keep your mind out of the gutter, all right? Let me do this and get back to you. Don't go anywhere. It's not over yet. All right. It took a little bit of time to run this through. So there's just a knot on this end of the cord that won't pull through this hole. And when you're done with this, you would just tuck this cord right up here in this upper drawer. It'll be out of the way. Pull it to the side. You can still stick stuff in there if that's what you want to do. This is the keep it simple, stupid method. Because you can come up with all kinds of things and buy hardware and do all those things, but decades of being alive and going out there and using gear and everything else, the last thing you want is for something to fail. So I just try to make these things as easy as possible to deal with and easily serviceable. So the idea here is going to be, you open this up, it doesn't even just fall, you got to pull it out here. And then you take your cord, and there's a groove right here. You're going to run the cord through. And that's what keeps this thing locked in place. Now, this is just going through the hole right now, and you can see just with the friction, and it's adjustable. I'm going to get to this. Don't jump the gun here. When you park the van, you know, he's going to be on the beach a lot. You don't know how perfectly level that van is going to be. And when the door opens, it could be out like this or in like this. So if you have some adjustability with this, let me pull on this here, maybe this angle down will be level when it's mounted in the door. Maybe having it up a little bit is going to be level when the door is open. Remember, this is mounted inside the door of the van. And that's what that's about. Now, I have an idea. I'll have to sketch it for you because I looked it up yesterday, and it's hard to find unless you know the exact terminology. But I'm looking for a cord lock that I can mount right here. Man, Phil's going to have to get this, I guess. But if you mounted that here, you could take this cord, adjust it to where you want it, slide that through, and pull it. It's basically like two knurled, spring-loaded clips, or, you know, whatever, little round things here, that the spring tension holds them in, and you drop the cord and pull it through, and then it locks it. They sell cord locks for Roman shades, for your windows. They typically mount vertically up above everything, and you can run up to 3 to 5 cords through them. And I saw one that was all metal construction for 3 cords, and it's not that big. It would mount right here, and it swivels this way as well, so you could run that through and pull it and lock it. That might be a way to go. I'll try to sketch something for you here in a minute. That or a cleat, like a small little cleat for your window drapes, like a boat cleat, where you could take this, get this adjusted to work right where you want it, and then run this through, you know, and then that'll lock it. I just think that that's the best way to go on it. It's just my opinion. You may disagree with me. But at any rate, that's it. There's a hole right here for the mechanism for the door. That's all based on Phil's measurements. That'll pop through there. This looks pretty good. You know, it looks pretty good. Again, with the plywood, as I was mentioning, you know, you can see where the little nails were, and you can see where the filler got into the grain of the wood, and that's just what I hate. So, Phil, if you're watching this, my suggestion is maybe tape out this mahogany right here, a little thin piece of 1/8 inch tape, and then paint, you know, from here out black right there on both sides. That would just look sharp. And I'm leaving that for Phil because he really is a finish guy. I mean, he's going to look at this and be like, gee whiz, Mike. And really, I want to get it out to him. But even right now, this is pretty strong. It's bouncing because the whole box is bouncing because I just have it clamped right here with this big clamp just on this 1/4 inch piece of plywood here. Which brings me to the next thing, which is talking about the actual materials used. Again, I know that I put this in a video already. Just want to get you off to the side here a little bit more. There we go. So the side panels are 1/2 inch plywood. The back panel is about a 1/4 inch. It's quality drawer bottom hardware. The bottom panel is 3/4 of an inch because I wanted screws to be able to get in there that hold this door in place. 1/2 inch plywood for here, for this bottom shelf. This is actually a piece of poplar that I milled down to a 1/2 inch for this shelf. These are all white oak, or excuse me, it's ash. And this has all been milled to about a 1/2 inch thick. And this dish out here is so that you can put stuff in there easier. I mean, it's kind of common sense. I dropped this the other day. I'm going to have to hit this with a chisel. It landed right on the corner, which isn't good. So I'll just clean that up real quick. We'll put a little more oil on it. And yeah, so you got it out. You want to put it away. Just close it up, lock it, take your cord, put it right in there. You're golden. Close your door. Nice and simple. Really, really, really easy. And it looks good. Again, this is ash, mahogany, and this looks like a genuine piece, and I believe this is African, more like a sapele, but it's pretty hard. I don't know how much cutting he's really going to do on this. You'll also see it's something I don't like doing because it's kind of tedious. I did put the drip rail around. On these input, this is a big cutting board. Maybe I should put a tape on it for you, give you some dimensions here. You know, at home when you're working on your countertop or something, on your kitchen, I don't think it's as important, and a lot of chefs will put and you should put a towel underneath your cutting board and you put it on the counter. What was I going to do? I was going to give you the dimensions here. But when you're working on the back of your van, and let's say you're cutting something up, you're standing right here, man. You know, so if juices or something, whether it's fruit juice or fish guts or whatever, if that drips off, you know, it's going to just fall right on top of you. I mean, this rail doesn't hold that much, but you know what? I'll bet you probably got 3 ounces of liquid that this thing would hold, if I'm guessing, that rail right there. It's about 3/16 of an inch deep. So this cutting board on its own is about 20 3/4 of an inch lengthwise, and it is 14, almost 14 1/4 inches deep. That's a good size cutting board. Now, you don't have to use this as a cutting board, obviously. This is a table that flips down. He might never ever use this as a kitchen. I don't know what he's really going to end up using it for. But boom, you put all your stuff in there. You can stage stuff, set it up, whatever you need to do. Again, when it's time to close up, that's simple. And I went with the window hasp, as you know, same thing, just because cheap, easy, and it works, and it's solid. Can't go wrong with it. Now, let's take you over here and look at the back of the van. All right. The van's filthy. I got to clean this out, and soon, because next week I'm going to Zicopoulos, and I'll be sleeping in the van because I'm poor. So here's my setup here, right? My Kershaw Surefire. So you can see here, you know, I'm on a little bit of an angle this way. There's not much I can do about that. My system, pretty much the same setup. The only difference is with mine, I've got this separate, and I've got a little hook here that I run this through, which I've been trusting, which is crazy because I've cut on this. I put a lot of weight on it. This is kind of grimy at the moment. These cans, you know, rattle up against it, and I've used this a lot. I've cut a lot of food on it and used it, but you can see this has got a slight angle to it. That way. This way it's pretty good. So when I do use it for my coffee or whatever, I've got to usually put like a shim underneath the stove to make that level, or I'm going to do it down here on the bumper. I do that a lot. I pull the fridge out to the bumper to get access to food. I close it up and then I put the fridge back in there. You guys have seen that on the camping trip when I did that. Anyhow, all I'm going to do right now is I'm kind of guessing that his dimension on his box is about the same as mine width-wise. I mean, the hole, I don't see how that can be so far off. Yeah, that's about right. Seems pretty close. Mine might be a little bit wider even. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get a measurement from here out. That's about a 5-inch piece. So I'll make him a 5 1/4 inch piece or so for here, the right height. And I'll make him a piece down here. It's more like 1 3/8 inches. And a piece on the side here, which is, I've got this as 1.5 inches. So I'll cut those parts for him. Now the only other thing is, there's an angle here. And I'm not sure what that angle is. I'll try it on the angle finder. If it makes sense to me mentally, I'll rip this piece with that angle on it already. And I'll put arrows on the back explaining it. But basically, as I mentioned, and I've got videos on this when I did it. I did several videos on this build. Keep in mind, when I do that, you know, I'm right here. It's at the shop. I did this haphazardly. I slapped that thing together over the course of several days, not knowing how it was going to look. And I had different parameters for myself that Phil doesn't have to worry about in his van. But the idea is that the box fits inside the hole. And then you're going to take this piece and you're going to have that angle cut on it so it's tight up against the sheet metal and tight here. You're basically just going to put that in place and pre-drill and put a couple screws right into it, which is tedious in a way because it's only 1/2 inch, so you have to pre-drill it. And then you're going to screw and glue that panel right on there. Same thing on this side, same little bevel there. And the bottom is a whole different thing. Now there's a seam here, you probably can't see on camera, here and here. And these pieces don't match up. I'll show you on film in a moment. This piece here is curved with the door. So what I ended up doing really was I put that piece on first and I clamped it. Well, I guess I probably put rib nuts and screwed it in with the curve. Then I put the box back in, and then from the inside I went in and screwed that with glue on there. Then I pulled those bolts and pulled it out. All right, then I put it back in after I made these parts, and I did. So basically it was piecemeal. But once you're done getting these panels attached to the box itself, you can unscrew this, take the whole thing out, and now these panels are hard mounted to the box. So when this box comes out, this is a whole setup here. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All I have is 5 bolts, riv nuts, into the sheet metal holding this in place. So real simple, nothing super complicated if you're used to building things, right? So anyhow, I'm going to leave this open for now. I'm going to get that off the camera. I'm going to show you what I was talking about. Don't go anywhere. So just so you guys understand, like it's not a perfect thing here. It doesn't need to be. All right, so this piece here was screwed to the bottom here, right at the line of the hole in the door that the box sits on top of. All right, I put a little glue on the top of it. I placed the box inside the door, and then I put screws down from the top. And then that held that shape. So the side piece, it's got that little bit of a bevel cut to it. While the box was installed, I put the screw in. Then I came in here with some glue and I put some screws on the side here, on the inside. You can see one right there. There's one up top there. There's one right there. You can see the hole where that mechanism for the door comes through. Same thing. So, should be pretty simple to understand. A little tight there for you, sorry. Let me show you something else. All right, all I'm thinking of is 2 wheels that they're forced together with some sort of spring system, and I'm assuming that they're on some sort of thing here with some, where I can mount it, some holes, and the cord, the 550 cord would pull through here, and these would kind of spring back up into action and lock. Like on the sides, if you could see it from the side, it would have like some sort of cut in it. You know, like if you were looking at a watch crown, is what I envision, right? So that's sharp there, and that's what bites the cord. I'm guessing that this exists. If it doesn't exist, you guys could tell me. But if you know what this is, or where I could find one in particular made out of steel or brass parts or whatever, something that's serviceable, that would be awesome for the side of the van. Or for the side of the box to lock that cord in place. Otherwise, like I was saying, it would just be like a, you know, some sort of cleat thing with a couple holes in it, you know, and then you would just wrap the cord around like a figure 8 around that. Make sense? I just don't know the terminology for that other mechanism there. you guys can help me out, that'd be great. All right, so it's boxed up. I got the trim pieces cut on the table saw, and they're in here. I got the little edge pieces of mahogany in here. It's pretty well boxed up. This is the box from that refrigerator, that cigar humidor thing. In another box, there's a bunch of parts down here, and I cut that box in half, used a bunch of styrofoam and everything, and packed the box in there, and then slid the other half over the top of it, trimmed off the edge, and so it's double wall cardboard everywhere. It's pretty well packed. Should get that there to New Jersey without any damage. So I hope you dig on it, Phil, when you get it. I need your mailing address. I'll be texting you next. Anyhow, that's it. That's the end of this video. I'm happy. I won't know what this is going to cost. I'm going to guess shipping to Jersey, this size box with this weight, 50 to 80 bucks, I'm guessing. I don't know. We'll find out. I don't think I'll tell you. It doesn't really matter. It's all on me. And that's it. You guys might remember, Phil sent me the bumper for the van. This is all he asked for. But I know when I go home, I'll help him out with something else or something. At any rate, that's it for now. Thanks for being here. Have a great day. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. Bye. Bye, bye, bye.